Welcome to question 2 of tutorial sheet 1. So the difference between this and the first question is the first one only asks for correct SI units, whereas here we want you to do it in correct engineering notation. So the difference between scientific and engineering notation is in engineering we ask you to do it in the by 10 to the 3, by 10 to the 6, by 10 to the 9, so in sets of 3, or by 10 to the minus 3. So we don't want to see it as, in this case, 3 tons. We don't want to see it as 3,000 kilograms. We want to see it as 3 by 10 to the 3 kilograms. So it's just an extra rule that we want you to have. So if in the exam I ask you to, convert it in to SI units with engineering notation, and you present it as 3,000 kilograms, well, you'll get a mark deduced or deducted for the fact that it's 3,000 when it should be 3 by 10 to the 3. So always, and I'll keep harping on, read the question. Alright, so we'll just start off with a nice easy one here, which is B. So it is presented as 5,000 meters. So it's already half the work is done because it is in the SI unit meters. So all we have to do is present it in engineering notation, which is 5 by 10 to the 3 meters. Answer, done. C then is the next step. So quite easy. So C, it is presented as 50,000 meters. So that is and should be 50 by 10 to the 3 meters. Now you could, in scientific, go 5 by 10 to the 4 meters, but that's the difference between engineering and scientific notation. Scientific doesn't care about this, it cares about the fact that it is 5, right? That it's not like 500, it wants it to be this 5 here, whereas in engineering it prefers to be in sets of 3. So here it's 50 by 10 to the 3 meters is engineering notation. Now I really don't mind, to be honest, whether it is scientific or engineering, as long as it's correct and as long as it's presented in this format. So I know in other modules you may have different ways of presenting it, so I don't really mind. It's all about the technique and getting the right answer. So in this case, engineering, just know the difference. Engineering is when it's by 10 to the 3, 6, 9, 12, and where scientific is more, it's 5 by 10 to the whatever it is. So hopefully it's clear in the distinction between the two. Jumping on, we can move to F. So if we go to F here, so that is 700 millimeters. So now we have to do two things: convert to the SI unit and then present correctly. So like in the previous tutorial on question 1, we just go through the slow process of converting it. So it's 700 millimeters. We want to convert this to meters, so it is, we want the meter, so it's 1 meter divided by 1,000 millimeters. So why do we do this? Is because this equals 1, because there is 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. It doesn't matter. So that means that the millimeters cancel out and the meter stays. We have to divide this 700 by 1,000. And we're left behind with meter, so the answer is 0.7 meters. Now we're not done yet because we've got the unit correct, but we certainly don't have the actual engineering notation done. So how do we present that? So right now, if we were to go scientific, it is 7 by 10 to the minus 1 meters, but that's not correct way of showing it. So what we need to do in this case is show it as to the minus 3. Alright, so to do that we go 700 by 10 to the minus 3 meters. Okay, and that's the answer. So if we were to do one more, because we've kind of been concentrating on millimeters and meters, let's do R. So R, which is kilonewtons. So we have 3.8 by 10 to the 7 kilonewtons. So if to convert both, so we're already in kilo, which we know as 1 by 10 to the 3. So we just add the 3 to what we have already. So that turns into 3.8 by 10 to the power of 10 newtons. We're not done because, as I said, the question asked for engineering, so it has to be by 10 to the 9. So that ends up being 38 by 10 to the 9 newtons, because that's in the engineering notation. So that's the different ways of doing it. And again, what I want the clear distinction of is the difference between engineering and scientific and what they require notation. So some people are just comfortable with it just being an odd number here, and they prefer it being tidy here versus the by 10 to the 3, 6, and 9. Everyone has their preferences, and I don't particularly mind. But look, in the exam, if I do ask for engineering notation, it's better to be safe than sorry. So in a question like this, it is better to have the 38 by 10 to the 9 when asked than having the 3.8 by 10 to the 10 newtons. All right. So hopefully that just you can work your way through all the other parts of question 2 in this tutorial sheet 1.